morning, good afternoon, good evening. My name is William Michael Forbes. I'm a spiritual medium, a channel, and an intuitive life coach. And I want to welcome you to Shortcuts for Your Soul. And today we have Master Jesus with us on the idea of losing ourselves in order to find ourselves. And this is a really important thing to consider. How to lose yourself and how to find yourself. And to know the difference. When you can make a distinction between who you are as an awareness and what your thoughts are and what your emotions are and what your body is, when you can begin to make the distinction, not a separation, but a distinction between the different levels of your awareness, you suddenly begin to liberate yourself from the identification of self as body, the identification of self as mind, and the identification of self as emotion, which is just a creative energy that we use. And just going to copy this link. So I'm going to post a link. Hi, Nicole. I'm going to post a link here that will allow anybody in Facebook can click on that link there, and they can easily make questions. So yes, I've been going through this very interesting process for about a week now since losing my identity. And I literally mean losing the old self. And it's been very challenging for me as an individual awareness, but also really, really exciting and exquisitely peaceful. I'm finding this incredible peace. So when I asked my guides and angels what was going on, they said, you're moving into your true divineship. And I said, what does that look like? And what does that mean? They said, it means that you will not be swayed by the past. You will not be governed by the external world. You'll be governed exclusively by that inner aspect of what you are that knows that which is. And so when I asked, well, how can I best explain the process and who can help me with that? And they said, Master Jesus will help you with that. And so Master Jesus is coming in today. And one of the things that he's been stressing with me, it's important to realize that there's a part of yourself that is going to be very, very fearful in this process of letting go of the old self. Because the old self is something that we are all familiar with. We're attached to it. This thing called the body we think of as who we are. It's not. It's simply the instrument that we use. He says letting go of the old self is learning to make clear distinctions between this flesh in which you find yourself, the mind that you have been given, the world that you have been given, and that which you are, the sentient son of the infinite intelligence of the creative universe. This self that you are does not find itself stuck in matter. It finds itself free through matter in its expression. And yet you cannot know that freedom until you are divested of that self. That would imply that you have some sort of restrictions or limitations on experiencing the life that you came here to experience and express. You all knew it well at one time. You were aware of it, but you didn't know of it. To be aware of something is not necessarily to know it. One can be aware of a glass of water, but not know what the water is. One can be aware of the wind blowing through the leaves outside your window, through the trees, and not know what the wind is. So awareness does not constitute the knowing that is required for you to divest yourself of the self that you are not and return to the self that you are. You have left that place of oneness and come into this place of diversity, and now it is time to return home. And to return home, it's important to make distinctions between who you are and who you are not. And it gets easier the more you become familiar with what you are not. You are not fear. You are not guilt and shame. You are not anger. You are not frustration. You are not uncertainty. You are not those things. When you understand that that is what you are not, then when you become aware of those things, then you simply have to recognize and clarify to yourself that that is not who I am. That is not who you are. You are not that fear. You are not that anger. You're not that guilt. You're not that shame. And while I say these words to you and they are true, the difficulty you will have in accepting that truth is that you have become so familiar with being that which is not you. You become comfortably uncomfortable with being that which you are not. And you accept the lie as the truth. And now I tell you, it is time to remember the truth and release the lie. So I want to share with you, So I want to share with you some of the things that I've been going through, so that you have a comprehension of the process from a mind-body perspective, so that you can begin to comprehend what he's saying, because it's really true. You literally have to lose your attachment to the body mind as self, because remember, your body and your mind are simply just mechanisms through which you, as a sentient soul, that aspect of the divine creator, expresses through. We weren't meant to be subjective to this. This was meant to be our servant to let us carry through our purpose in this world. So some of the things that I've been going through is recognizing when people say or do things, and recognizing the emotional reactions that happen inside this system. For example, a car screeched around a corner the other day, and I could feel how the body went into a state of hyper alertness. And then I immediately corrected it by saying that is not that sense of hyper alertness, that fear that came up. I went simply, I am not that. That is not who I am. And so this whole week since losing my old identity has been about recognizing what I am and what I am not. And it's been an ongoing process. So if people speak to me and I can sense or recognize their fear or their frustration, and it triggers something in me, I go, that is not who I am. And literally that statement, that is not who I am, begins the process where you, as an awareness, start to divest yourself, to peel off the layers of clothing that you have around your being. The layers of clothing that you have around your being are all the thoughts and beliefs and ideas that you have been enshrouded in. And now it's time to remove the shroud. You know, it's really fascinating. Yeah, Master Jesus told me the concept of the shroud, the shroud of Turin, for example. The example of the shroud is literally the old self being released. And that is your mind, who you've been taught to think you are, is the shroud. The identity that you were given by this world is the shroud. Everything you believe based on what you've learned from this world is the shroud. And being able to distinguish between that which you are, the old self, and that which you are as who you are as a being here and now, that does not know frustration or fear or doubt or guilt or shame, but is aware of them, but is not entrapped by them as self. You recognize you are not those things that you are. He says it's really important that you proceed in a gentle and mindful manner. By this, I mean simply that you recognize any deviance from peace, any deviance from joy, any deviance from love. The minute you are aware of these deviances, simply stop. You do not need to know what caused the deviance, but once you recognize the energy that deviates you from your awareness, you simply state, that is not who I am. I am not that fear. I am not that anger. I am not that guilt. I am not that shame. And even when others will come to you to try to reinforce or give you their belief, their limitation, same thing. I am not that anger. I am not that fear. I am not that guilt. I am not that shame. To divest yourself of what the world is trying to give you all of the time. It's literally we have stopped watching. I deactivated my Netflix account. I deactivated my Prime account a few weeks back, right when they began to tell me there was a big change coming. And so I started to move away from the world presenting itself as what it presents itself to me. The things that are going on in the world politically, socially, economically. These are all things that can keep us entrapped in the old self. And it's really important that you begin that conscious, deliberate, mindful process of extracting yourself from the clothing that the world has placed over your awareness, because the truth of who you are is so exquisitely incredible. The truth of your being, limitless, loving, powerfully creative, beyond imagination, cannot be realized as long as you're stuck in this finite perception of reality. So notice how people act and behave around you, and be willing, when you feel, why are they doing that? That sense of judgment, that is not who you are. So I've been literally doing that over and over again. These guys keep saying, stop. They literally have been doing that to me, especially Master Jesus says, stop. That is not who you are. And so I will stop, and then I'll make the statement myself. That person's talking to me. I can feel the frustration. I can hear their fear. That is not who I am. And what's really fascinating, the minute I began doing that, all of a sudden, my ability to hear, my ability to be more receptive, my ability to communicate my love to that person, even if it is done wordlessly, increased. I'm no longer attached to the same thing that they are attached to. Because the minute somebody comes and they're critical of you and you get frustrated, well, now you've limited yourself to their criticism. Even if you know their criticism isn't true, the minute you're frustrated by it, you've actually engaged yourself in being that which they are limited to as well. So it's important to capture that. Yes, he said, for some of you, this process will be very exciting and very fulfilling right now. There are others of you that will struggle because you are so, he's using the term addicted to these things that are not true, that you are this way or that you are that way. You are so addicted to these things that it is hard for you to release your attachment to them because of the illusionary reality presented by what you call emotion. But the moment you realize that there are certain emotions that do not reflect who you are, and you are able to consciously and deliberately say, that is not who I am, that anger is not who I am, that fear is not who I am, that anxiety is not who I am, as you begin to deliberately and articulately release your attachment to those, you will find liberation begins to expand. The joy in realizing who you are not is met by the exquisite delight of meeting who you are, because now you are being mindful and conscious of the process of releasing yourself, losing your old self. You have to lose the self you've been given to be the self that you are. And this is a process. You cannot come home in the middle of winter or in the middle of summer and not take your jackets and shoes and boots off and expect to be comfortable in your home. It's important you understand you have to take off the old clothing to reveal what is underneath them. And as you find, a sensation will occur when you find yourself simply saying, this fear is not who I am. The simple statement of this fear is not who I am. This guilt is not who I am. As you begin to deliberately feel what happens when you make that decision, that choice, and cultivate that vibrational awareness that that is what you are not, there is something that begins to emerge. Because the minute you say, I am not that, something else will take its place. And it's usually either a reduction of that which you have decided you are not, a reduction of fear, a reduction of anxiety, a reduction of guilt and shame. The very choice that I am not this fear reduces it. You will begin to experience this very rapidly and easily. And when you understand how to take your clothing off, you will find yourself naked, back to who you really are. And I use the term naked very figuratively. For right now, you have clothing on that you're not comfortable wearing. Many of you walk around in this clothing all day long. You wish to get it off. You get frustrated. You'll use drugs. You'll use alcohol. You'll use many things to get this clothing off. But the only way to get the clothing off is to take it off, to take it off yourself. You cannot make it somebody else's responsibility, but it is yours. He says there has been much change in humanity since we last did this together. you find yourselves as a species now challenged with great fear and uncertainty in front of you. But this is what you must release, not just individually, but collectively as a species. You are not this fear. You are not this uncertainty. And until you divest yourselves of these things, can you then be able to behold that who you are as a collective whole? The wondrous unity that can potentially happen in your species is pretty profound. Yes, I understand that. So this is really an undressing of you're literally undressing your soul from the mind. You're literally taking the clothing off your soul. That this is who I am. I am depressed. I am sad. I'm guilty. I'm no good. I can't do this right. I'm this. I'm that. These decisions, these ideas, these beliefs that have been emotionally cemented as clothing on your consciousness, it's time to take the clothing off. It's time to take your clothing off. Yes. Yes. He's also saying, and Master Jesus is also saying that it's important as you start to undress yourself, a new self, that you will see what is really underneath. You begin to feel who you really are as the being that you are, the light that you are, the splendor that you are. I am not suffering. He says, is another really good one for humanity. I am not suffering. And yeah. So as I've been going through this, right, he's laughing at me because he's watched what I've been going through, literally having to let go of the illusion, the illusionary self that was constructed by the environment, and a new self begins to emerge. And this is a universal process. He says everyone must consciously go through this process. And you have to be aware of the process as you're doing it. He says it makes no sense to have tools but not understand how to use them, nor wood and how to apply those tools to it. How can you possibly create something if you do not know how to create? Yes. So literally taking your old clothes off. And I would write some of the emotions down that are the most dominant emotions for you. What are the most dominant emotions that you feel throughout the day? Is it anger? Is it guilt? Is it shame? And whenever you're aware of them, are you willing to say, that's not who I am? That fear is not who I am. It's something you acquired from your past. It's not who you are now. And our goal in working with you guys is to get you to the understanding of who you are consciously through your own experience of the process. So you have to lose the old self. And you hear this in books and texts. They talk about this a lot, peeling the layers off an onion. It's simpler than that. It's really being aware of that is not who I am. Literally, I am not that uncertainty. I'm not that fear. Whatever the dominant emotional beliefs or ideas that you have yourself enshrouded in, it is time to take those things off. Take your mask off. It's time to take it off so that you can reveal yourself to yourself. And that self will have something very special to offer to the world. Beyond whatever you could imagine. So even if it's in relation to certain things, your fear of money or poverty, or I can't find the right relationship, you are not those fears. You are not those things. The minute you begin to release the energy that's attached to the conditions you're experiencing, those conditions change. Literally, those conditions begin to change simply, easily, and effectively. And it doesn't have to take a long time. It can happen in the twinkling of an eye. And really, the twinkling of your eye is whenever you say, I am not that fear. I am not that sense of lack. I am not that feeling. that feeling of I don't have enough, that is not who I am. Make a decision. I am not that energy. And you'll start to feel something emerging in here, in your heart. Yeah, he's saying the divine heart begins to open. The divine heart begins to open when you release that which enshrouds it, covers it. When you release that, but you have to make the bed, and you also have to prepare it to rest in. You must do the work. Yes. So literally, you're going to be pulling the covers away from the old self to reveal who you are, literally, as an awareness. Do this right now. If you're listening to this, wherever you're listening to this, pick something you're feeling, a concern, an uncertainty about your life. Become aware of it. Become aware of the emotion. Make the decision. I am not this fear. I am not this anger. I am not this guilt. I'm not this shame. I'm not this belief in poverty. I am not that. Once you start to decide what you're not, then what you are will begin to emerge. Right now, you're so attached to trying to get rid of what you're not. You're trying to get rid of it. You're attached to it. I am not that. Take your attention away from it so you begin to liberate yourself from it. He says enlightenment occurs with each step. What do you mean by that? I mean that the process of releasing yourself deliberately, one step and one moment at a time, and the awareness of that change liberates you. It liberates you from that self. Oh, come over here. Hang on. I got a little puppy dog that wants to be up behind me. Come here, you. Want to say hi first? Let's say hi. She wants to say hi. She's saying, Daddy, I want to be up on the couch. So she likes to sit behind me on the couch here. There you go, sweetheart. There you go. There we are. So let's get in some Q&A here. This is very fascinating because he's going to be answering your questions from a very different place than I would. So be prepared to shred the illusions you might have about who you are. Let's got to get rid of this page here. Wonderful. Good morning, everybody, and welcome. Welcome today. We have so much going on. Yes. So we have a question from, hello, Danielle. Oh, and I also want to say, welcome to all the new students of Mediumship 101 course. It was a good start to the weekend. I hope you enjoyed the first couple of live events. We got another two coming up today that are going to be really exciting. I'll be doing the guided meditation for the group later today, which I'm excited about at 5 p.m., I believe, as you can check in your schedules. Okay, let's see here. Questions from, good morning, Nicole. Good morning, Buddha. Good morning, Danielle. Danielle's asking, I decided to take this apple cider 2 tablespoons, but don't recall what it is for and what is the quantity. It's 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. If my memory serves me correctly, the apple cider vinegar is to release joint pains and help redistribute the calcium in the body, so you won't have as much joint pains or aches in your body, but it will also alkaline your system and reduce the acidity, which will cause aches and pains in muscles if your body's too acidic. So the apple cider vinegar will begin to alkaline your system. So it's 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I recommend Bragg's apple cider vinegar with the mother in it. 2 tablespoons of that. Make sure you shake it before you pour the vinegar in a 6 to 8 ounce glass of water. And I do that in the morning and do that in the evening. And you'll be surprised. We had a friend who had serious arthritis, and when she did that, literally 2 weeks later, she called me up and said the pain has virtually all but gone. Right? Because arthritis is because the body's too acidic. I mean, there's other things too, misdistribution of calcium. Again, I'm not a health specialist, but I've learned enough from my own experience of the changes in my own body through doing the things I've done that let me know, well, this actually is what's going on. And not to mention some wonderful teachers that I've encountered on my journey through this earth walk. Great question, Danielle. Thank you. I hope that helps. Question from Allison. Is there any advice for me regarding my meditation sessions? Wow. First words Master Jesus is saying is be still. Be still. And he's motioning to a space above your head, to be in the space above your head. Be still here. Lose this in this. Lose. Okay, can I paraphrase that? Okay, so literally lose. When you move your awareness into the space up there that you're suggesting, when you move your awareness there, let your attachment to your body and mind go. Literally, let it go into the silence. Let them become completely still and quiet. And then just be the awareness up here. Be the awareness up here. And okay, they're all somebody. I don't know who's coming in, but somebody else is coming in and saying you will begin to receive messages from us from here. You cannot receive them through here, where you situate yourself mostly. You will receive them from up here. Interesting. So yeah, please, Allison, great question. Let us know, because I know this is really important. A lot of people will meditate and they'll be still in their body, right? In learning to meditate is literally about being able to let the body, let the mind be completely still, and then to move your awareness to a higher vibrational perception of reality, right? To actually become aware of everything other than what you already know. And that's the only way you actually get out of being attached to matter, is by becoming disconnected from it and reconnecting to the awareness of being, because there's a whole other realm of information available to us there. Thank you. Thank you for that question. Magical Buddha. How important is the practice of authentic equanimity to dropping your old personal self? Thank you so much. How important is the practice of authentic? Wow, that is very important, because it's really, yes, they're telling me that it's really a process of not being attached, of being delighted in the being of yourself without an expectation or an attachment to what will come next or what went before, but to be fully present in the moment. And this, from the perspective of what you're speaking, will make it much more delicious and delightful for you. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Wow. Question from Carolyn. Does Master Jesus have any messages for me? Thank you. Wow. Do not waste your time in worry. That is not who you are. Thank you, Carolyn. A question from Monica. Why I wanted to come here from oneness. No. The answer to that question does not lie in that question. The answer to that question lies in being who you are. You are trying to figure out why you came here while you are attached to a mind and a body that cannot let you know that. And this is where your frustration is. You are frustrated because you are attached to this thing and trying to figure out the answer to a question that your mind and body does not contain. And so you remain frustrated. The simple method for getting back to knowing the answer that you already know in yourself is to restore yourself to yourself. Then the next question becomes, well, how do I do that? And as has already been explained, your ability to know what you are and what you are not, and making that distinction, will return you to the awareness of the being that you are, that came to serve through that form in a very precise and specific way. But you cannot know what this is until you know what you are. again, the understanding of what you are not is very important here. You are not that body. You are not those uncertainties. You are not that fear. You are not that doubt. And when you know that you are not those, when you know that you are not those, when you know you are not those, then you will know what you are. Thank you. Thank you for that question, Monica. That's beautiful. That's really beautiful. Wow. Good morning, Melina. Good to see you, darling. A question from Danielle. Another one. How am I doing on a spiritual level? What is the next step for me? Thank you very much. Any message for my sister, Anik? She is having a hard time experiencing violence with her boyfriend. Wow. Okay. Well, there's several things. The fact that you have doubt, again, the question are good questions. How am I doing on a spiritual level? You are doing perfect on a spiritual level. You are absolutely perfect on a spiritual level. The challenge you're facing is, how do you get that awareness to your awareness? How do you get your awareness to that awareness? And as we have said to the other previously, the distinction between who you are and who you are not is essential. You must lose yourself to find yourself, this self that has been given and constructed for you. You must lose that. But you are doing very well on the spiritual path. And the next step we have just told you. What are you and what are you not? You are not your uncertainty. With reference to this third question, yes, the process of understanding the changes in energy for her are a little bit more subtle, but no less effective if she understands that the anger and the fear are not who she is. That vibration, that sensation of weakness is not who she is. She must not try to get the other to acknowledge who she is, but to acknowledge who she is in and of herself. And from my third dimensional perspective, get away from the violent individual, for starters, because that's not who you are. That is not who you are. You are not violence. You are not fear. You are not anger. You are not guilt. You are not shame. You are embroiled in an identity that does not serve you. And the world, of course, around you represents the identity that you believe and think you are. And if you believe you are no good or not worthy, then you will certainly experience that in your material reality. For there are no restrictions or governances on the beliefs that you will choose to have. You get to experience whatever you choose to believe. So learn to believe and know that which is wanting to be experienced by you as a truth. Thank you, Danielle. Wow. Hello, Lauren. Question from Nicole. Why am I feeling stuck and stagnant? And why am I feeling fearful after I was so excited to start my life purpose? Well, I'm going to answer that for you. When we get attached to old emotions, they literally recreate the same conditions that we tried to get away from. But those emotions of fear, those aren't who you are. Start dropping your attachment to those emotions. Yes, the excitement, that's who you are. You are excitement. It's not something you're trying to get. You are excitement. You are not the fear. You are excitement. You are not the fear. Make the conscious decision. I am not fear. I am excitement. And if you stay, this is who I am. I am this excitement. I am that I am. 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 That excitement. And as you engage in that energy, you begin to liberate yourself from what was former. Wow. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Great question. Sorry. They're all sitting back in like these energy chairs. There's chairs of light. They're all sitting back with their just leaning back and watching me. It's really funny. I've never had that. It's like I'm being interviewed. Any advice for me on my spiritual level? This is from a spiritual perspective. It's important we communicate to all of you that you are not lacking anything spiritually. You are complete and perfect and utterly splendid in the most wondrous ways. And when you can recognize that which you are and own that I am enlightened, I am free, I am joy, and recognize I am not that fear, I'm not that anger, I'm not that uncertainty, I'm not that guilt. I am not that. I am that I am. And as you begin to feel, and this is important, when you begin to feel the energy of your conscious awareness and choosing, as you feel the change in those, I am not that fear. That's not who I am. I'm not that anxiety. That's not who I am. Even if you don't know who you are, the decision to realize who you are not will reveal that which you are. If you got a dirty window and you begin to clean a small piece of it, you start to see light come through. And for many of you, your mind is like a dirty window and you cannot see through it. And so you start to clear it a little bit at a time, a little smudge at a time. I am not that. I am not that. I am not that. Oh, I can see something different there. I feel something different. You will begin to feel something different. You'll begin to feel who you are. And who you are is pretty wonderful. Thank you, Katya. Wow. You're welcome, Lauren. You're welcome, Nicole. We got a question from... Oh, I also want to say, thank you for reminding me. I also want to say, tonight, 7 p.m. Patreon, all my patrons, you'll be receiving the email link in about an hour's time for tonight's live event, patrons only, at 7 p.m. this evening. We have a whole hour. So anybody who wants to become a member of my Patreon group, you get that this evening as well. We got our live one-on-one, our live group chat with all our patrons at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Toronto. So you can go over to my Patreon page, patreon.com/William Michael Forbes, and become a patron. And I want to welcome my new patrons over the weekend. Thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. 20% of everything we get from Patreon and everything we get from our super chats here has been going to rescue.org. And so far, we've donated over $200 to rescue.org in the last month. And that's donations from YouTube, donations from my Patreon page, and donations I've personally given myself, because I believe very strongly that it's time to really start helping our children get out of these organizations that are abusing them and using them. So remember, no, everything you do here is supporting another cause as well. Sunny Soul, I was told I will work for a company and get an interview in September. Did I miss the opportunity, or will I get to find that job? Of course you didn't miss the opportunity. September is just beginning. Do you want to miss the opportunity is the question. For if you have a fear that you will miss the opportunity, then the chances are you will create it. You are not that fear. You are not that uncertainty. I am the job that's coming this month. I am excited about this job. I am that I am. It's important you understand. Your questions reveal the very nature of what it is you are struggling to release from yourself. When you find yourself asking yourself questions, you can find your answers very quickly. You can know the emotion that you hold on to that inhibits you from liberating yourself. You can know the emotion. That is it fear? Is it doubt? Is it guilt? Is it shame? Because as long as you hold on to those, then you will hold on to all the problems that are included in those. whether it be not having enough money or an unhappy relationship. It is your emotions that you hold on to, the illusionary emotions of suffering that you hold on to, that allow you to keep your suffering. And that in itself is pretty remarkable, that you can hold on to your suffering, but you can also let it go. So be mindful. You are not those emotions that do not serve you. Understand, you are not your fear. You are perfect in your spiritual realm. You are absolutely perfect and pristine, radiant beyond imagination. And your ability to release the cover over the light of your being simply and easy. We cannot make it much simpler than this. I am not this fear. I'm not this anger. I'm not this sense of hurry. Speaking of sense of hurry, so I had to walk the dog this morning a few minutes before it came live, and I'm walking and I'm thinking, and the thought came to me, do I have enough time? I better hurry. And so I went, wait a minute, I'm not that fear. I don't need to feel hurried. So I started to walk slow, and then a voice came in and said, you can still get excited and move. Let your excitement move you forward. So I did. I got excited about what was going to be coming, and then I let the body move with the excitement. And now the body was moving with excitement, not with like the anxiety of whether or not I'm going to get there on time and get everything set up on time, when I get everything in place. That was gone. And the minute you're consciously choosing, I am not that fear. I'm excited. I'm not that guilt. I'm innocent. The minute you begin to consciously catch it in the moment and release it, because you can only release it when it's in your awareness. If it's in your subconscious mind, most people can't go into their subconscious mind and consciously go in and ferret out that stuff and release it. So you really want to become conscious and aware and alert in the moment. So when even if somebody triggers fear or anger or frustration, that's when you have the chance to let it go. We go into that in great detail in our Mediumship 102 course, which starts on the 26th of this month. And we do have people signed up for that course already. So for those of you that are already familiar with how to access and tap into your guides and angels, I highly recommend our Mediumship 102 course, because this course will teach you how to let go of the old patterns, the old self, literally to disassemble your awareness from it, to literally rip off the clothing of the illusionary self and reveal you to yourself, so you can start to be that which you are consciously and deliberately and presently in the moment. Right? It's very exciting stuff. Yeah, and I'll put information about that up on a page before we finish today. Thank you, Sunny. Wow. Good morning, everybody. A question from Patricia. So cute. I had a very deep conversation with my friend's son who had been labeled autistic. He is brilliant, but lives with the label. Did I help him? It helped me. Wow. It's funny that you asked that question, because if I look at it very carefully and I really think about it, anytime you recognize the truth of another, you reveal it to them, even on an energy level. It's why a person you can walk into a room, and if you're in a certain mood or somebody comes walking in a room and you can sense the mood off that person, it affects everybody around them. We talk about this a lot in that we radiate energy out all the time. We're always radiating energy and we're always receiving energy because we're a dynamic field. So when you come up to that little child and you're holding them, they're a brilliant child, regardless of the label, they're brilliant. Their brilliance will be stronger. And even if you're not in the same physical space, even communicating to us right now that this individual is quite brilliant, we know they are quite brilliant. And they can feel that and they will respond to that. The label of Asperger's, that is not who they are. That is not who they are. And again, when parents become more familiar with the way in which they utilize energy with their children, they can liberate their children from many things. Many things. They are not what they are not. They are not. They are not what they are not. Thank you. Question from Miriam. On this spiritual awakening journey, is it normal to feel lost and at peace at the same time? Absolutely, Miriam. I have to say, there's a point in your process, and you're all going to run into this. There's a point in your process where you're going to cross a threshold between who you were and who you are. And who you are is going to be so different than who you thought you were, that it becomes a challenge in the beginning to, yes, no, they're saying once you start being aware of who you are, the challenges of being what you are diminish significantly. The distractions of the old self are removed. The distractions of the old self are removed as you become more aware. The peace of which you speak, the sense of liberation, the sense of detachment is natural, but there is also a sense of connection to life that is so beautiful. There's a sense of connection to life, to all that is quite beautiful. There is, in fact, a level of unity that happens when you lose the old self, a sense of unity, of communion, of being one with all that you perceive, that there is no confusion. The confusion ends. Yes. So yeah, it's normal to feel that sense of peace. Yep. Absolutely. Feeling a sense of peace and feeling lost. Because like I said, what I've been going through, losing my identity, losing the old William self, losing that old self, literally losing it. It's like, well, who am I then? Right? And who are all these beings that I'm suddenly connecting to? Who am I? Who are they? It changes things. You become real with yourself, and you become real in a way that makes life. You become excited about being here. Thank you, Miriam. Good question. Lauren is making a statement in the Course in Miracles. Jesus says he is the atonement. What does that mean precisely? Wow. He's saying this. Please understand, this does not refer to me personally as the individual you know as Master Jesus. The atonement, if you understand, is literally translated into the awareness of your unity with life in an inseparable perception of being. This is why the word atonement, if you break it down into its syllables, is at one meant. You are at one. You are at one with what you are. And it is simply that the knowledge and information that I have provided gave each and every one of us the chance to remember this truth, that there is no us, there is only who I am. And in that experience of unity, you are free, you are at one, and you are at peace. Service then becomes a natural function of who you are. It does not have to be thought about or considered or weighed or measured. In the state of your atonement, service is a natural expression of who you are. Wow, thank you, Lauren. That's a great question. Wonderful. Question from Emma. Any message for me today? Thank you. You just got it, Emma. Skyheart, does Jesus have any message for me on letting go more than I am? He says he finds it interesting that you're still asking this question after all that has been said in this last hour. What more do you need than a shovel to dig in the ground? You have not only a shovel, but you have two shovels. Cool, thank you. Thank you, Patricia. That's nice to know. Yeah, I appreciate that. I actually feel that way too. It's an amazing thing. YouTube user, which is probably people from Facebook. Let's see. I know I am a multidimensional being here for a purpose, but my humanness prevents me from stepping up. I don't feel valuable, worthy, etc. I've been struggling with this for a long time. Advice, please. Affirmations don't seem to help. Wow. He's saying it's important in your case not to focus on the affirmations, but to focus more on the identification you have and awareness of the emotions that these affirmations would normally resolve, but become aware of the emotion and make the conscious decision that I am not that unworthiness. When you feel it, you can only release it, you can only let go when you know you are holding on. So when you find yourself holding on to your unworthiness and your uncertainty, that is when you go, that is not who I am. That is not who I am. Once you start to let go, then you will start to know. Once you start to let go, then you will start to know. The awareness, I will stress to you again, the awareness of your unworthiness. The moment of awareness is the moment to let go. I am not that. I am not that fear. I am not that guilt. The moment you know, let go, and you will find your balloon shall rise. He's showing you an image of an actual hot air balloon, and they're dropping the weights off, and it just starts to go up. So literally, when you can deliberately and intentionally capture those moments where you're feeling ashamed or angry or excited in a negative way, right? Let it go. You can only let it go when you know that it's there. You can't let it go if you're not conscious of it. So yeah, so find those moments, capture them, and you'll see the struggle will end very yes. The struggle will end very quickly for you, for you're at that place where you're willing to let go. You just have to know how to let go now, to be aware. It's, like I said, when you were taught to drive a car, when I was taught to drive a car, they showed me where the gear shift was. They showed me where where the clutch was, where the brake was. They showed me all of those things. I had to learn those things to get the car in gear and get it moving. So think of that statement. Think of that awareness. Think of that energy when you recognize I'm feeling guilty. That is not who I am. That awareness, the very nature of that awareness, I'm saying that's not that I am not that. That's when you're starting to let go of that and you let go of this. And when you start to know that you're letting go, you feel something different. Try it right now. Think of it. If you can recall some unworthiness, and then just simply go, I am not that. And watch what happens. Watch what changes in your energy. Right? Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. Okay, where are we here? Wow, 3 more minutes. I think I got time for one more question here. I am universe. Working as a bus aide for deaf, blind, autistic children, asking Master Jesus to work through me for peace and healing today for the children. Thank you. Love and blessing. Oh, absolutely. We can all do that right now. Wow. Those that do not have ears to hear can hear. Those who do not have eyes to see can see. They can know that which those with eyes and ears cannot. Yes. So they're just communicating a healing vibration to all these children around the world right now. They're saying we are always with them. It is many of the people that are supposed to be their caregivers that are not with them, not in spirit. Yeah, they're saying way too many people are doing this work not out of love, but out of obligation. More people need to recognize the gift that these children have brought forth, the gift of seeing without eyes, the gift of hearing without ears, is something that all that have eyes and have ears must learn to see without their eyes and learn to hear without their ears. He's saying it is not the children that need our assistance. It is those that assist these children that need our assistance. The children are not the ones. It is those that assist them that need the prayer, that need the guidance, that need their eyes opened and their ears to hear. Wow. Wow. Thank you. Oh yes, I said I put this out. So I'm going to put this information about the 102 course up on the wall for those of you that want to, that already have a fundamental understanding of how to communicate to your guides, your angels, and other metaphysical and multidimensional beings. This is a course that you might want to start if you're finding yourself being blocked, your communication. Interesting. So understand that this course will help you to release patterns in your body and in your mind that inhibit you from knowing fully who you are. Learning to distinguish between mind and body is crucial to recognizing and liberating yourself from them. And this course is designed specifically for that. And we have some wonderful beings in that course. So please consider joining us for that. It's a 3-week course that starts on the 26th of October. On that note, I want to say thank you, everybody, for showing up today. Wow, a lot of questions I don't think I've gotten to. Look at that, eh? Wonderful. Well, like I said, the other way you can also use the super chats in the super chat box when you're asking questions. If you really want your question to be answered, use the super chats. It gives a small donation and supports this work, and it also gets your question prioritized. So consider that next time you're live. Remember to give this video a thumbs up, please. And also, if you really enjoy the material you hear here, go to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/William Michael Forbes, and subscribe to my channel. Like the video, of course, and click on the notification bell so you get notifications when I go live or when I post new videos or new material up there. And I think on that note, we're going to wish you guys a wonderful and a joyful day. It's amazing things happening, folks. Amazing things. Much love, everybody. Bye for now.